Basin. We are back with the second after the show. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this social media crisis, what everybody thinks. Got a few questions in mind I want to ask everybody. So we'll start off with this. Justice. If you could do anything, like, say you know, one day everybody's going to have kids of their own, maybe. What would be your kind of, like, way of preventing your... Because, like, I've seen several videos, like, too, of, like, parents do, like, I don't know if y'all seen these, but, like, before and after the iPad or something like that. Like, before their kid was actually, like, addicted to just watching stuff on their iPad, you know, their behavior changed dramatically, like, you know. So I've seen several videos of that. So, like, what would you do to prevent that?
I'm gonna probably go the route that I had to go, and that would be waiting till a certain age until you get a phone, and then after that you've got to wait, you know, till a certain age before you get the certain social media apps and stuff like that, because I mean, not even just because they might get addicted to it, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want your kid there if, you know, something could possibly happen to them.
Right.
So that's probably the route I'm gonna go. But what are you gonna do?
I'd do the same thing. I'd wait till like 15, but also I feel like as an adult having a kid, I feel like everything you do feeds off on the kid. So I feel like if I were a parent, I'd have to maybe slow down and chill out on being on the phone so much, addicted to it, and that might feed off on my kid. Maybe.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just get out in the world and do some stuff.
Yeah. I ain't go fishing, hunting, or something like that. Avery, I want to hear your response. How you gonna prevent your kid from being a crazy lunatic on the iPad?
So, my kid probably won't have an iPad till they're like 6, I think we'll be doing a lot of stuff outside. And even when they do turn 6, I don't think that they're going to work. I know we're not going to sit on it all the time. We're going to we can have times to where we go outside and do stuff, and then when we're back inside or something, then he can have a little bit of time on his iPad for like an hour or two. Probably just an hour, actually. Because I don't think that I didn't get to do it, so I'm not going to let my kid do it. I don't care how electric, like, internet big we get or whatever. I'm not going to let my kids sit on an iPad, ever. Now parents, like, let their kids just sit on there and do, you know, whatever they want. They have PS5s now and playing games all the time. We're not going to have that.
Okay, so with you saying that, let me say this. So, I think we've all been to that age where it's like, you know, I've heard the saying that, like, strict parents make sneaky kids, you know? So, like, you gotta think about it that way, too, you know? If you're always consistently, you know, like,
kids,
so,
they're gonna go on
I mean, we're all young. We all do stupid stuff. So, you think about it as in, if it's, I'm not gonna let my kid do this, I'm not gonna let him do this, or I think about it as in, like, because growing up, I never had, like, that strict of parents, you know? So, but I feel like if I did, you know, but I know a lot of people that did have strict parents, but they, you know, ended up sneaking around them, you know? So, like...
Yeah, I had really strict parents with all of that. No, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't be, like, crazy strict, because I definitely went through a phase where I rebelled really hard, and it would have been better if they would have just let me feel included with everyone else, go on about my day. So you definitely can't just be like, no, they're not doing this, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. But I agree. I mean, I was babysitting my cousins at the Hawaii Dam game, and there's a full basketball game going on. I remember when we were down there, you know, all of us kids were in a corner, we were excited, we were talking to each other the whole game, just running around, getting in trouble, whatever. But my cousins were just sitting with me, and it was like at halftime of the girls' game, and he was like, can I have your phone? This is boring. This is a stupid basketball game. I don't want to watch.
Yep.
That was like my favorite time of the week during
prime
school when there was a
example.
high school basketball game.
That brings me to, like, when there were football games here. I don't know if any of you guys came, because I knew you guys were at Fannin, but I know people like Connor and all of them, we all would play football on the side, you know, and tackle each other, and we'd all get in trouble. But I feel like those times were a little bit better because that was a few years ago, but we had a bunch of kids at that time still just coming to football games just to not even watch the football
Play
game,
in that corner.
just to play on the just to play on the grass, you know.
Well, I mean, and that was the thing. I was in charge of them at the time because their parents were concession stands. They're involved in the school. They work at the school, and I was like, no, watch the game. And for 30 minutes, I was like, no, like, no, you're not taking my phone.
You pitch a fit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But the second their parents got a break, hey mom, can I play on your phone? Mom and dad both. Yeah.
Yep.
Y'all go sit down.
And that's an easy way for parents, I feel like, nowadays, just to let the stress of, you know, your kid freaking out or having to deal with them.
Well, my point is, I think it was a habit because they weren't dealing with their kids right then. I mean, it was me.
Yeah.
And while I'm not saying I'm a parent or nothing by no means, but like, they weren't watching them. It wasn't like a stress thing at that time. They were. It was just a habit. Yeah, y'all kids.
I see what you're saying.
And I think there's a time and a place. So like when I said with Avery, you know, don't be too strict. I think there's a time and a place for yes, and there's a time and a place for no.
Right.
I don't think it's one or the other.
I think my parents were always really strict on me, you know, and my brother and Drew, well, my older brother and Drew, and they were real strict, and they didn't let us have iPads till we were older, and if they're going behind my back and doing stuff, that's on them. But I will have boundaries, and I will be strict. I don't care. I don't think they'll be able to do stuff, you know, of course, you know. But I didn't get to have that. I didn't get to, you know, have the freedom of everybody else. I mean, I'll let them have friends over and let them do, you know, a lot.
Did you like that?
Huh?
Did you like that growing up?
Of course, I didn't love it, but I turned out pretty good, and I'm glad I had boundaries because it set boundaries for me that I have for myself.
It's a good way to look at stuff, man.
Now that I get older, I mean, I realize, you know, some of the stuff my mom and dad did and what they were trying to do, and I appreciate it. I mean, a lot of kids were just getting to go and do whatever, and they turned out really bad. I don't care. I mean, they did. I think having parents that, you know, made me calm down and made me, like, my mom and dad did, their parenting was very good, and I was very blessed to have, you know, my mom and dad and being how good they really are, you know. So I think, I mean, I turned out pretty good. Drew Hunter was a pretty good kid. Drew turned out to be a pretty good kid, and I mean, I think I'm not going to be crazy strict. You know, my mom lets me do quite a bit of stuff and lets me go and hang out with people quite a bit. And,
But you're going to have those boundaries.
yeah, I make good decisions, and I think everybody else, I think my kids will make good decisions and stuff, and so I think I'll definitely have them boundaries. There's no way I'm going to let my kids have free reign, and I will be strict, and I will not let them be on an iPad till they're 6. I don't care. I'm not going to be that person that, you know, hands us the iPad and be like, here you go, play this. We won't have it. We'll be outside.
Those boundaries are good and great, but when you look at it, if we collectively do that as parents in the future, collectively, like, hey, no, then it won't be a problem because then no kid's feeling left out because every kid. But I also think it's important to feel left out at some points. I know it sucks and people hate it, but I agree with you on that. I think you need to be separated from other people, look from an outsider's point of view at times, because my parents were strict on it, and when I'm saying there's a time for a yes and a no, like me and my mom, we don't have a relationship because of how strict she was on me. Like, it's gone. But my dad, we're very close, but he still instilled more morals in me than my mom did. So there's two sides of it. So if we collectively, as a future generation, realize this and wake up, I think it'll be fine. But if we don't, it's going to be really bad.
See, I'll be honest with you, like I said before, I didn't grow up with strict parents. So, but at the same time, you know, as like I said, we're all kids, we all do stupid things. So about the age of 13, 14, you know, I was sneaking around, whatever. You know, you have that phase or whatever. But at the same time, I learned a lot at a young age. I learned a lot, and I'm glad that, you know, I feel like I almost feel like I had to learn it more than people had to tell me it, or it like how your parents are always there mentoring you. I mean, I'm not saying that my mom wasn't there to mentor me. She was, but with me going out and doing stupid stuff and having to learn from that, that's what I mean. I think in myself, I'm a pretty good, solid guy. I'm nice to everybody. I'm always gonna help out somebody if they need it. So, and I learned a lot from you always learn. You live and you learn, right?
Yeah, I feel like that too. Like I learned from my mistakes.
Yeah.
And you really have to show your kids the good and bad things in the world and talk to them about it, because like people's really like, parents are like, just like knocking the bad stuff out. They just want to just see the good things, in life. And then when they burst in bad things, they ain't gonna know how to burst them, It's gonna take them down.
I think like how the way that I was raised was like my parents didn't tell me, like the strict they were was not the crazy psychopath. They would sit down and talk to me about stuff and be like, listen to this, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's what, I'm definitely going to do that, Like, it wasn't just no all the time, just as answer no, And I think that a kid hearing just no, just the word no all the time, I think I might get some, little mad. They're like, this is all my parents says no. And then they start rebelling. My mom and dad wouldn't do that. They would tell me no.
Told you why?
And they told me why.
Yeah.
But listen, and they would explain stuff to me. And they were like, and my dad sat down many times with me and said, explain stuff and like, listen, I love you so much that I don't want you going through the stuff I had to go through, or, he trying to help me, and that's how I want to be. Like, I'm going to sit down, talk to my kids, but they're going to have to figure stuff out, just like I had to. I'm going to let them do stuff, once they start driving, I'm not going to give them, hey, you go do whatever you want all the time. We'll have boundaries. I mean, I'd like for them to come home and eat and stuff with us and be home just a little bit, but if they want to go out and hang out with friends, I'm not going to just tell them no.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them do it, just like I was let do it.
Mm-hmm.
My mom lets me go out and hang with friends quite a bit.
Right.
So I think that there's a point in a time where, you give them a little bit of more freedom, but as a kid, growing up, I'm not going to be crazy strict, but I'm going to have boundaries. I'm going to have rules, and we're going to do certain stuff because you're not old enough to go do stuff before 10. I mean, they don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get their brain flushed with all this bad crap that's going on. I mean, they're eventually going to learn it, but I don't want them learning it when they're 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so the topic was if social medias themselves need to change and become more restricted. But we flipped this all on parents. So do we really think social media is the problem?
Okay, so I was literally just thinking about that. So well, actually, the great Mr. Tompkins brought it to our attention. The dude that created the like button, I don't know if everybody else was listening, but he was talking to me and Justice about it. And he made a really good point that when you're on social media, it kind of takes a toll on your mental health, okay? So when you first make your Instagram account or Snap or whatever, most of it I feel like comes from, with the likes comes from Instagram, and the followers comes from Instagram as well. I feel like with that, you start getting out, get a little bit more followers, but you get to a certain point where it's like, oh, I got 50 followers and I only got like 2 likes on my stuff, Makes you kind of feel bad. It's like, dang, I posted all that, went through all that and now it's not like blowing up as much as much as I thought, or much as I wanted it to, So, my opinion, to answer your question, Taylor, if I could, and this is gonna like be a hot take or whatever, I honestly do wish that for a while, all of social media would just come crashing down, completely, just to see how it works, just to see how the world works after that.
Well, I agree with that, but that's self-discipline too, because me in the summertime, I delete Snapchat, I delete all my social medias other than like Instagram.
Yeah.
Because Instagram for me is a hobby.
And that's crazy that you just say that, because I literally just did that not too long ago.
I
And
go
all I have
ghost
is
mode
Snapchat
all the
right now.
time.
Snapchat, I have Instagram that I try to limit myself to. For a while last year, I had time set on my apps because, and Mr. Matthews brought this to my attention too, because he was telling us last semester that, and I know everybody in here does it, before you go to sleep, you're on this. You're sitting there scrolling, you know, before you, and it kills your sleep. You know, I can't even remember what study he was showing us, but like most of the something of percentages of people don't get into that deep sleep stage and wake up tired all the time because they've just you're just on your phone at all times before because I'm a victim of it myself sometimes, and that's why I'll be sitting there thinking while I'm doing it. I'm like, gosh, man, what am I doing? And I seen this one guy. He popped up on my Instagram feed. And I'm glad he did, talking about how all of his friends and stuff, how he doesn't even talk to him anymore because they've just always been surrounded by social media. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I've always heard the saying, "You are what you hang out with." No matter what, your family, your friends, everybody's gonna rub off on you just a little bit.
And it may take like a long time too.
Yeah.
It's not just gonna be like you hang out with it twice and
Yeah.
turn into this.
Yeah, right. So but as time goes on, see, some of the buddies I've had since I was in 2nd grade, they don't even come to school anymore, but we're still really good friends just because we've hung out with each other for so long, and we just have the same hobbies. We're all so. And I keep coming back to the thing with how if social media was to I would just love to see if it all came down just how the world would work and how much, because I truly do believe that with the young generation, old generation, no matter what it is, that it takes a deep toll on your mental health. And I really didn't even think about it that deep until Mr. Tompkins said something about it. But I do firmly believe that.
I mean, of course, I sit on, Instagram sometimes, and I watch a little bit of TikTok and YouTube videos. I like to watch some YouTube videos, but if it crashed, I know for a fact I wouldn't have a problem with it, and I know I'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I've told my mom this many times. I was like, I wish social media would go away.
Yeah.
It just went away. We had just, messages and phone. And you can call people when you wanted to call them, and that's it. And people would be able to talk better to each other. You would have kids going out and hanging out with each other, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just, it would be it, because when you're, this happens quite a bit. I'll call somebody and be like, hey, you want to go do something? And they're like, would you rather just get on the game?
That's a good point. Hey,
I'm like, no, I would not rather get on the game.
That's a good point.
I don't want to I don't want to see it and play a video game when I want to go out and do something. And people do it all the time. All the time. I've asked people, hey, you want to go do something? And they're like, would you rather just go sit on the game?
Mm-hmm.
You know, play the game? I'm like, no, I would not rather sit on the game.
So, that's a good point, because it's not always just social media. Well, I guess you could call video games social media, because on Xbox and PS4 you have friends, you have followers, or
There's
whatever.
still communication through an app.
Exactly, and it's. Well, I feel like video games are even worse, just a little bit, because you get to control it. A lot of people like to play video games because, even myself, when I'm playing GTA or something like that, riding around in a nice car listening to some music, I could be doing that in real life, okay? But I'm doing it in a game. And even last night, I was literally thinking about this to myself, because I knew we were going to be talking about this. Oh my gosh, dude, what am I doing? And then, so I got off,
Here's my opinion and my hot take on all of this, kind of tied in as one. Me personally, never touched a video game as a kid. I'm 18 years old and I have never played a video game.
Now.
Never.
Not even on your phone.
So for me, that's I don't understand. I'm like, no way. Sitting in a chair in your bedroom like this, all hours of the night is fun. The headaches, there's no way. I see that as fun, but I never had that. I never got interested in that. It was never brought up to me through parents, friends.
You see,
Nothing
what makes
like
it
that.
fun for me, and I feel like what makes it fun for a lot of people is like how Avery just said, playing with your friends on the game.
It's different.
It's so much fun. I can't play video games by myself, honestly.
Yeah. Now if it's late at night, or you know it's raining or something, it's late at night. Like it's the only time I get on the game, and I haven't been on it in probably a month.
So
Close
just
to-
boundaries
close to
on it.
2.
Y'all have boundaries on it.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
what I'm
say
saying.
this.
There's kids that have none.
I'll be
And
honest.
they will stay up till 4 in the morning on a school night.
My
coming to
little
school
brother is the epitome of that. Travis, if you ever see this show, I'm talking about you, man. His birthday was yesterday. He turned 13. So he's always on the game. Always on the game. And I noticed when he was even just ordering his food last night around the table, he does not know how to talk to people at all. He's always looking at his big brothers to talk for him, you know? And I'm telling him, like, man, you gotta release, man. Just quit being so nervous all the time, you know, bro? And he stays up all night on a school night, plays video games, sleeps all day in school, doesn't do that hot in school, and then goes home, repeat, you know? And I'm not around him much because he lives with my mom, but I try to, every time I talk to him, try to, you know, get it in his mind, like, man, there's more to life than just a video game, dude. Just an Xbox, you know, there's more to life than a controller. You know, you can, and he's a good kid, don't get me wrong, really good kid, but, you know, like everybody, he has his flaws, and like, he just wants to play video games all the time.
Okay, my prediction on this, like kind of what you're saying is, I don't think, here's where I think we're going with this. I think we're going to make another, you know, they say history repeats itself. Y'all know, we're here trying to flip it on the parents, saying it's on the parents, but here's this gentle parenting crap. It's everywhere. It's what our generation wants to do. You know, be nice, all of that. I think it's going to come down to so bad of a point where y'all know, I don't know what time frame it was, but there would be like at 10 p.m. every night, it would pop up on the TV. Y'all have heard about this in Miss Underwood's. Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are? I think social media is going to come into that because of this gentle parenting. It's social media instead of the parents giving boundaries for the kids on social media. Social media is going to become the parents of a lot of kids. Like advice. Y'all have already seen it. There's influencers out there that's like, if you've had strict parents, watch this video. I'm going to show you how to get by with this. Okay, great. Or there's like, if you didn't have a mom in your life, here's how I got by and here's how I did this. I think social media is going to be the parents, and we're going to repeat history with all of that in a different form.
I'm gonna hop in here. It's debate, so you know, like debate. So I'm just gonna throw in another little point here and there. Back to the video game thing. I was saying, you know, it's bad, this and that. I do think there is a time and a place for it. Like you're saying, you play at night in the rain, whatever. Whenever I was little, like I had an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So, like at nighttime, whatever, we would play with our dad.
Yeah.
So you know, I think that there's definitely a time where it can bring you guys closer. It can bring
Very
you
good
closer
point.
with your family and stuff. But also, my little brother's like your little brother. He's on the game all the time.
Yep.
He never comes out of his room, this and that. But I definitely do think that there is a time and a place that there could be, you know, that it can benefit you.
I love that. I like that.
And,
That
what-
was a point I was just
yeah.
about to bring up.
And what you was
Exactly.
saying about the social media, like you have a mom, this and that, you know, here's how you get by.
Wherever you're going.
I think there's also can be good out of this too, because you know I've seen, you know, I've seen it all. I see stuff all the time. It's like, you know, you grow up without a dad. Here's how you shave.
But you still
Here's
gotta
how you
have
shave
your.
face. And
Yeah.
here's
You
how
still have
do
to have
this.
your self-discipline because you can go. I know
Oh,
there's
for
some
sure.
bad influencers out there too, and if you don't have a parent role model and you don't self-discipline yourself,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you go,
absolutely.
you can watch awful people too. But that's where
That's where you have to
parents
like.
have to be in our boundaries. Because for me, like video games with y'all, I think there's good and I think there's a time and a place. Just like I said with the yes and the no. Because y'all have great memories. Y'all can talk about, yo, it was in the summertime, it was raining, it was 1 in the morning, everyone was on the game, we were talking, bringing up old stuff. You know, y'all have good memories from talking to each other on the game. That's Instagram for me. For me, it was never the likes or how many people comment or how many people reposted on their story. But my mom also, kind of like y'all, slowly introduced me to it. So I think at like 13, 14, I was allowed to have Instagram. It was tied to my mom's account though on her phone, so she saw everything I saw. She was regulating me, but I wasn't allowed to post yet. I couldn't post until I think 16, because my mom gave me a taste. Like, you can see what other people are posting. This is kind of like, I don't want you posting like her. If I see you posting like her, you're done. Okay, you're done. You know, this is what I want you to see. And what she was letting me see was like just people we know, like close people we know. So for me, Instagram was never about the likes. For me, I have a friend, we go out and take pictures. It's a hobby. That's how me and her, that's how we hang out. So I think it's all what we make of it. I don't think even the creators of these social medias intentions were for it to go this deep. I think they were trying to make, like y'all said, communication for days when you can't be around. I think we abuse the power of it.
That's a really good point, because with Justice was saying, and I was even thinking about it, when I got into this little phase, and I'm still kind of in it, I still try, man, marketing and, you know, social media marketing and business stuff. There is a time where you can have, you know, like educational YouTube in front of you at all points, you know. Like she was just saying, I feel like I agree with Haley. A lot of us do abuse the power that we have.
Oh yeah.
So, and I was even watching. I can't remember what. I think his name is Iman Gadji or something like that. He's like this business guy, and he was even talking about how like YouTube's not always a bad thing. It is what you make it. You know, we all have the thing like, and I've heard some people bring to the point where you can be on social media, but you can still be in that bubble, in your own bubble. You know?
Pick and choose.
Social media is surrounded around, your social media is surrounded around you, what you like. Exactly, right? So, when it keeps just feeding you what you want to see, what you like to see, what you like to hear, you're always going to have, it's always next, full attention, right? And another thing I want to bring up is, me and my older brother, we talk about this a lot, because he's tried, I mean, he tries a lot. Short form content is the new thing nowadays. And I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I can't sit there and watch a movie.
It kills attention span.
Exactly.
I've noticed myself even, like I'm a victim of it too.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, I watch TikTok a lot. I don't watch it anymore, but I used to watch TikTok a lot. And like, I would sit down and watch, like try to watch like a 30-minute YouTube video. Sit down, you get 5 minutes in, you're distracted, looking around. I'm like, oh my god, this is bad.
Yeah.
Have y'all noticed the like upscale in ADHD in kids?
I've heard about that.
Do y'all think that could be?
I think it definitely could
Do you think social media is influencing that, like ADHD or like tendencies? Maybe you don't develop ADHD or whatever. I don't know how that works. I don't know if you.
Do you mean like as in like the aspect as like once you give it to the child and try to take it away, they start freaking out?
Like just to say, TikTok short. It's meant for short attention span. It's you know, it's convenient. It's easy. But now we're like so into that. Like TikTok's so big, so huge, and now Instagram has the reels. Now Facebook has the reels.
Yep.
Like all of that. So we don't have to wait for nothing anymore.
Yeah, it's right
nothing.
there.
And so when you're in a classroom and it's like, I need y'all to sit down for an hour and a half straight. Can you do it? We're like,
I was about to say
what? You want us to sit down for?
God, that's such a crazy point that she said that, because like while you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking about being in class, especially Mr. Flynn's class. Shout out Mr. Flynn. I noticed, I mean, there are a lot of people that, I mean, get on their phones, and I think with the teachers having all the pockets, you know, the what is it called? The phone pocket?
The phone pocket thing?
Yeah, everybody knows, nobody puts their thing phone up there.
Nobody.
No.
I don't forget about that.
And they don't instill it, so that's where I'm with Avery. It's like, no,
At
the
some
soft stuff, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. We don't want to tell them no.
Yeah.
People need their feelings hurt.
They need that.
Sorry.
That's how you get
I grew up
need
in
to
that
feel
feelings
hurt.
hurt.
That's how you get really like
Like now, dude, the kids that don't get the hard parenting are
they
the
get
babies.
on my nerves.
Oh, they're
And they
awful.
can't take it. There's kids on the basketball team go home and tell their mom what coach says sometimes, and it's not bad. It's just him being like,
They're trying to help you.
yeah, him being like getting on to us because we're doing something stupid or we're not doing stuff right,
That's right.
and we get upset about it. bro, I had a dad growing up that
Would
That,
you-
yes, that would go,
I was gonna bring that
scream
up
down my
earlier, but the
throat when I
subject
did
changed.
something wrong, or I was doing something stupid, you know, and it grew me up. It was like, okay, don't do that, you know.
I was gonna bring that up earlier, but the subject changed. But since we're back here, discipline is important.
Yeah.
Discipline is extremely important, and parents don't do it anymore. A lot of times, parents, don't do that, and then they do it again. Like, don't do that. Whenever I was little, if I got told more than one time, I got a whooping.
Oh, if you had to get told a second
If
time?
if they're like, do not make me
You're
tell
already-
you again.
you're
If we were
already
driving
in.
down the road, I got the hand out of nowhere, hit me in the mouth, like I'll be a
I got the.
It's like, dude, my mom could like reach around with like an extended arm and just. I was like, golly.
I got the wait till we get home. That was
Wait
the
till
worst
we-
car ride I've ever
I was
been in
in
my
I was in
life.
the car one time. We was riding with all my cousins, and we was being so annoying. My mom was getting mad, telling us to shut up. She pulled the car over.
Oh,
got
when
a,
they
got,
got
a
pull
hickory,
the car over.
got a hickory lined us
With the
up.
brake tab.
Yep.
We all know what those are. The
The
snap.
hickory, bro. The hickory.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if anybody else
hurt
got
so
whipped with
bad.
the hickory.
Oh,
That hurt.
I just got it with a black leather belt. That's all.
the flimsy ones?
Yep.
But the hickory, like,
And when she
I know
touched
it's
the
so
hickory,
iconic. The hickory's so iconic, I think, because when you know you were in trouble when you got whooped with the hickory.
yeah, you know you doing what she tells you to get
Yeah.
you on. You like,
When Dad got the belt out is when you know you've actually messed up. You know, there was levels. My mom would go from like spanking me with a hand, like she would like boom on the butt, and like then it hurt. I was like, oh, okay, no, it's fine. But there was levels to the being disciplined.
Yeah, there's still an abuse
I got to
line.
wait till
Yeah.
Dad
But now
gets
people
home.
are saying that
Yeah,
that
we
would
get
be
home
abuse,
from
like a pop on the hand would be
Yeah.
abuse. Well, then how do you discipline?
A little backhand to the mouth when you're saying stuff that you shouldn't be saying or doing something. That's not crazy. I mean, I firmly believe it.
Now I want to ask everybody this. I want everybody to answer this. Do you think, as a think about yourself for a second, not as in future, think about right now, or even we'll say past, that social media has ever took a toll on your behavior?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah.
we all have.
Whether you know it or not,
Yeah.
social media has influenced every single person.
Yeah.
And we was talking about it before. The bodybuilder people.
Yep.
They're over here, they Photoshop pictures, they blast steroids, claim natural. Then people, they watch these people and they're like, well, if I do what they do,
Yeah.
I can look like them.
Yep.
This happens to me a lot. I can be sitting with like one person and be talking to them, right? And we're just sitting having a good time, and I hear my phone ding over there and dinging, and I'm having a good time. And I'm sitting there talking, and
Check.
I'm flipping through it for a minute. I put it down, and then that person will bring it up to me. You're on your phone a little bit. I'm like, no, I'm not. Am I really? Because I don't realize it. Because
habit.
this thing is like, I hate it. I really do, because I feel like it just makes problems.
Yeah.
It makes more problems than you can.
This
Hell.
summer, I think I lost my phone, and like financially, it was like I don't need that. I want a car. I can go see people if I get a car.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $1,400 for my phone. I mean, I could, but I don't. Why would I want to?
Right.
I mean, there was a point in my life where I was a full-blown teenager, and I went 6 months without a phone. And my friends were like dissing me for it. They're like, "You're crazy. You don't ever know what's going on. What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I show up to school every day and I talk to you guys. What do you mean I don't know what's going on? I know the same stuff y'all know
Just because
from
you didn't
showing
see
up.
The most
I went and I
recent-
bought a car instead of wasting my money on a
Yep.
phone payment. I'm still in the loop. What do you
I have a
mean?"
question, and it's not on topic whatsoever, but it's a question kind of what tell you. Because I wanted the other people's opinions. I've always thought about this. Having a kid going through high school, of course, if you're not like financially stable enough to, be able to support your kid when they're in high school, if you're perfectly financially stable and you can pay for your kid to buy him a car, buy him stuff when he needs it, and do all this stuff, would you make your kid get a job if they're in sports or not in sports? I've thought about this because my mom, she would like me to
I'll
get a
answer
job,
this first.
I have had a job multiple times, but now, like, I play 4 sports here at Basin: golf, basketball, baseball, and football. And it's hard to, have a job and hang out with buddies, because I don't want to be like that kid that never gets to go do stuff. So like I get side jobs here and there, quite a bit. You know, having money and stuff. And my mom helps me out. I'm not gonna sit here and say my mom don't give me money. She does. She helps me out quite a bit. So, what do y'all think? Or what's y'all take?
Okay, so I'm only gonna answer this on what I've been through. I had a job. My first job was at 13 years old. I worked 30 hours a week at Mesquite Grill on the table. I don't know if this is gonna get you guys in trouble, but I doubt anybody's gonna see this. Well, my stepdad worked there, so I had a job at 13. After I got my first job, and I mean this by every single word. After I got my first job at 13 years old, I went, not another job, but I left there because things weren't working out with me being young, because you can't have a job at 13. You really can't. I went and got a actual, employed at Burra. That was my second job at 14. I was a busser there. You can ask Connor. 40 hours, if not 30 hours a week. 30 to 40 hours a week, all the time. And now when I say this, I mean this. My mother, I told her, like, my first check I ever got, I gave it to her. Now from that check forward, I made like a little agreement with her that she didn't have to necessarily buy me anything I wanted. I was gonna do that. Okay, so fast forward a couple of years later, I'm able to drive now. We started looking at cars or whatever. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, she helped my brother out a lot with his first car. But I was like, I want to kind of do this in my way. So I've had 3 cars in my life. Paid for 2. And then I paid half for one for the other, right? Now, sadly, I don't have any of those cars now because they're all totaled. But now with that, having to grow up quicker, and like I said, I'm not trying to diss anybody. I could see when I was 13, even 14, the difference of responsibilities and mature that other kids that were in my grade, nobody else was doing that. And nobody else was, in 8th grade, 7th grade, here especially, doing 30 hours a week at a restaurant, and because that was my drive, was money, When I was younger, that got me going, even now, when, I'm scheduled for 2 doubles in a row, and I'm like, gosh, dude, I do not want to go to work. But when I get there, it's like, dude, I'm having fun and I'm getting paid for it, it's all about, like, perspective, you gotta look at it a certain way. So, to answer your question, yeah, I think, I'm not gonna necessarily say that that's like the best thing to do, because with that came a lot of flaws too. But I learned a lot at a really young age, and I am so glad I did, because I learned a lot when I was 13 that even kids now my age still don't even know.
Okay, I got a topic that relates to this. If you weren't done, sorry, I thought you were. Are you? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do y'all think, how we're talking about, like, social media is making teenagers compare each other to unrealistic things, ideas, pictures, images? Do y'all think it's the same with parents? Because it's like, okay, well, if I give my phone the iPad time, if I give my kids the phone time, the Wi-Fi, I pay for the Wi-Fi, the service, and everything. And it keeps them at home. We have good Wi-Fi at home. The kids stay at home. They're staying with us. Oh, but Becky's kids down the street are running, they don't pull in until 11:30 every night. They kind of make fun of the kids that do go out, other parents. It's like, oh, well, their parents aren't on top of them. They're running around till 11:30. So what if Becky's kids are running around till 11:30 p.m.? Your kid is upstairs in her bedroom. Lord knows what she's getting into on social media, but you think you're in control just because she's in the house.
Mm-hmm. So with that, and oh my gosh, it's so funny that you say that, because my mother always used to tell us that she would rather us be at the house knowing that we're safe than being out doing super stuff with our friends. So,
but I'll be honest, there's more kids getting into trouble on the phones at home alone than the kids out.
And that's the thing. And I don't blame my mother for that, because I love her to death.
Well, I mean, parents make mistakes too.
I feel like with that came the reason why my brother will not get off the game at all.
Parents are like friends with their kid. Friends with their kid. And they do stuff with them. friends would do, and it just makes that relationship like, man, I don't care, man. You wanna do what you wanna do, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. Man. Like,
That comes back to what I was saying earlier. I played the Xbox with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, we played games, he kicked my butt, he let me win. Now that I'm growing up and realizing that. He let me win a few times, but that brought us that much closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, everything, like at the house that he did, I was right there with him.
Right.
My little brother was right there with him. He included us in everything too, so like, yes, I didn't have a phone till I was however old, but I didn't care at the time. I didn't care. I was outside with my dad doing stuff, you know, this and that, helping, doing stuff with mom in the house. We all did like family stuff.
Well,
My
me and you
dad-
grew up together. We'd
Basically.
be at my house in the front yard, 1 a.m. out there playing baseball or whatever on the trampoline, yell at our parents, hey, turn the porch lights on, please. It's 1 in the morning. Did we care about going back inside and getting on our iPods or whatever it was at the time? No, we did not. We were so happy and so content just being outside.
That's what parents.
Like, throw your kids outside.
I love what he said. Like, my dad has always told me, he was like, he told me that multiple times. He'll look at me because I'll say bro, or I'm talking to him.
friend.
I'm talking to him like, you know, the way I talk to my friend. My dad's like, stop right there.
Yeah.
I'm not one of your friends.
Yeah.
I will never be one of your. Well, no, never. He said, I'm not your friend right now. He said, and he told me this. He told me this the other day. He said, Avery, when you're grown up and you have a kid of your own, that's when we become friends. He said, not until that day. He said, until that day, I'm your dad, and I'm gonna help you. He said, I'm a mentor. He said, and my dad's going on right now with he preaches. He starts preaching, and he goes every like third Sunday at my church, and he'll preach, you know, this youth service and stuff, because that's what we try to name it as. And my dad usually preaches on it, and so now I have that role. You know, my dad, you know, he's always been big in church. My dad's always known stuff, but he's always told me, he's like, you know, he's like, I'm not your friend, he's I'm your dad, and he's said that to me, and I you know, but also like that. I think that like when I have kids, I think that how I'm gonna have it is I'm gonna have, you know, decent sized land. If I could do it, I'll have horses and I'll have cows and I'll have stuff to do around the house.
Chores.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Well-
I'll have kids going out, working, feeding, and maintaining stuff. And if we have horses, I want them to ride.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna make them if they're not, you know, they're just, you know, don't want to do it. I guess but they're gonna do stuff.
Yeah.
They're gonna do stuff around.
And if they're out there with their dad, which would be you, it's not going to feel like work to them.
Yeah,
They're going to be
exactly.
out there with their dad,
Yeah.
getting closer with their dad. And you know, he says he's not your friend, he's your dad, this and that. I agree with that to a certain point, but I also feel like, you know, at a certain time, they relate to you.
Yeah.
Like they come and you talk to them and they sit there and they listen. This
With
and that.
Hunter and Drew, you know, they're different from me. So I am the middle child. I am the country kid. Everything I do is hands-on. I love hands-on stuff. I'm going into the union. I want to go well. And so my dad was just like me. He was the middle child. He was the kid that had hands-on. My dad looks at me and, you know, when we're having a serious conversation, he said, Avery, I see myself so much in everything you do. So it's to a certain point. Like my dad, when I was little, we would sit and play. Like sometimes at nights we'd play NCAA on the PS2 or something, because my dad had one, and so we'd play on it, and it grew us closer. And like I love playing the game with my dad, and I still do it to this day. I'll be like, Dad, come on, let's play the game, and we'll play it sometimes. We'll play like Madden or something together.
That goes back to our time and place.
Yeah. So I love it, and I'll have the same thing with my kids. You know, because that's my biggest dream is having a family. But yeah, so back to tying everything together, I think that there needs to be boundaries. My kid will have stuff to do, you know, and if they're in sports, I don't think I'm going to make them like, hey, you have to get a job, because I think with mine is I'm going to have so much to do around the house. I'll have so much. I'll have horses, I'll have cows, I'll have, you know, quite a bit to do.
Well, even if not, then there's still dishes. There's still, you know,
and
floors
I
to be
think that
swept.
I'll be like, listen, you do certain stuff, and I'll give you a certain amount of money. You know, I'll give, because if they're willing to be in sports, they're willing to get out and do stuff and be, you know, help around the house quite a bit. I'm willing to not to make
You're
them.
willing to help them out.
Yeah, I'm willing not to make them go get, you know, that job. I know I hate it. I hate going to work at this place. But now I still go out and, you know, cut wood with people, and I mow grass in the summer sometimes, and I do it because I like, you know, I like that money. It fires me.
Money's a big driver.
Yeah. So for everything, I think that there's going to be boundaries. There needs to be boundaries. Social media is not the worst thing. You know, there's good things on social media. The bad things, you know, it comes with social media. And I don't think we're going to get rid of it now. So we just got to get.
You have to limit it.
Yeah, we're going to have to get to the good stuff of it. I don't know how to try and explain it, but like, there's going to be bad things that come with it. So we're just going to have to. My kids are going to have to learn.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm glad that you pointed out the thing about chores, because that was a big thing in our house. A big thing. As soon as you get home off that bus, as soon as you walk through that door, you put your book back down, you get your homework done, you get your chores done. With that, and you see, when we always got home, our parents were never home, so we had to take care of everything. So we always thought of it as work. You know, when you were saying if you know you go out and do it with your kid, you know, it's not as work, but we always looked at it as work. You know, so but that also made me get a job at 13 years old. Start seeing the real world. You know, when you're not with your parents at all times, when you're not, you know, you're with around. You first started a new job at 13. You know, I've always been told I'm really good with people and I know how to talk. I was a host at Burr for a long time. I mean, I've had so many reviews, so many 5-star reviews, just because I'm a host, you know, just because I was nice, you know. So, and I'm glad that I had that, because I'm glad that I wasn't always on the phone, the game, and it didn't kill my social skills, you know, because that is a big thing of mine right now that I have. I'm really good with people. I've always have been.
And another thing is, you know, going out, like what Justin said, and you said, and Tony said, going out with your dad and like working on an engine or working on something. You're sitting there and you're doing stuff with him, and yeah, he just get hot. Because when I'm working and my dad's working and we're doing stuff, oh God, we get mad because something's not going right or something. But you see, I mean, the kids that don't get it, you know. I could line up everybody in the school and point out the kid that didn't have that, and you can just tell. You can tell.
I can relate on that so hard. So I'm gonna tell you, I had an under the table job since I was 8. Like I've been working my whole life. Even now, 7 days a week, gone. I'm never at home. You know, the days I'm not at school, I'm at work. The days I'm not at work, I'm doing a sport or I'm at school, or my time. Every bit of my time is taken up with something. So I don't have a lot of social media anyways, but I feel like, so Drew and Avery, I have a question. Do you feel like Drew was raised differently, less boundaries with the social media as you? Because I feel like Danner had the same rules, like he had to wait to a certain extent, but he definitely got Snapchat age-wise earlier than I did.
I feel like
I think parents are influenced.
The parents, I feel the parents be
Softer.
Yeah, because like, when I was a kid, I don't really speak about childhood or anything like that, but when I was a kid, it was really, really hard. Really, really hard. And then when I got older, you know, 3 little siblings came, and we got them.
Or they
They
slightly
just-
lighten up on the,
way,
the rules. Yep.
Me
Well-
and Drew.
So high. Me and Drew are so close to age, I feel like, that Drew, I think Drew got a phone when he was 13. Just like
We're both.
Y'all were
We're like
well,
the
it's
same.
not the same. That's your parents, I mean, being stern in their rules and everything.
Well, I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Cash got stuff so much earlier than I did. He's getting to do so much more than I got to do whenever I was
Do you
that
get
age.
mad? Because I
Yeah, it
mean, we
makes
were
me
raised
mad
a lot of the
sometimes,
same
but-
way. I get so mad. I'm like, Danner's a brat because, you know, y'all didn't instill this in him like y'all instilled it in me. But I think we have like 2 minutes left.
Mom, I gotta say this one thing and we'll wrap it up. Mom would punter because I have an older brother, I didn't get to do stuff with Hunter ever. But we had a decent sized age gap between us. We had like 4 years. So, but Mom lets Drew come with me a lot, which we're so close in age that it's because now that I'm getting older, Drew's starting to become a buddy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate him and I want to punch him in the face, but you know, Drew's starting to become a buddy. So I don't see the problem. I think Mom just you know, having an older brother, having a because I'm 18, Drew's 16, right? Yeah. And so I don't know, I can't remember. So Drew's we're so close that you know, Mom trusts me for Drew to come out with me, and he gets to go with me. And when I get to spend the night sometimes with friends, he comes. And, you know, so I think that my mom has the same morals, but he gets to do a little bit more than I did when I was his age, just because he has me.
Mhm.
You know.
You're his God.
Sorry, talking about that, like, okay, but we were raised into like more of a stricter because of not trying to like, but my older brother was raised into like a non-strict, but like it changed because of what he did. Like, and then I love it. I love having an older brother who was born into a non-strict, and which made him be able to do stuff, which they got strict on us, which pushed us to be who we are today.
Guys, I feel like we could all talk about this all day. I've had a good time. I think this has definitely been the best after the show. But we are definitely going to close it out because we only have a minute left. I loved hearing everybody's opinions. But we will see everybody or talk to everybody Monday. So, CBTV signing out.
Oh, Lord. Dude, that was a